Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap podcast from SNXweave, where we give quick weekly recaps of news and important updates from the previous week from the Spartan Council and core contributors, as well as discuss what the Grants Council and ambassadors are up to, so let's get started. While some of the councils postponed their meetings last week for Thanksgiving in the US, we still have a quick update for you guys on last week's SIP presentations and some ambassador updates. Starting off with SIP 337 for Perps v3. As discussed in previous blog posts, this SIP proposes deploying Perps v2 to Synthetics v3 with a number of feature upgrades and improvements. Upgrades include native cross-margining of positions, multi-collateral margin support, revamped liquidations, and improved deterministic settlement. Let's review what some of these upgrades will entail. First, Perps v3 will have multi-collateral support. In Perps v3, all synths that the spot market creates will eventually be enabled as collateral. This is done so that it's easy for the Perps market to have liquidity to sell synths when required, and allows it to easily get quotes to determine margin value. Next, for liquidations, large positions will be gradually liquidated, one non-sandwichable portion at a time, with a configurable delay between partial liquidations. This eliminates the MEV sandwich attack vector, keeping that value with the protocol. Improved deterministic settlements will also be a part of Perps v3. Delayed orders in Perps v2 have proven extremely effective in minimizing toxic flow. However, the details of the implementation can be improved to produce a more resilient settlement flow. In Perps v3, the settlement process ensures that the execution price is the price at commitment time and is executed in the available window. Next, for market structure, a number of individual Perps markets will be grouped together into a larger supermarket. This is to ensure all the risk from each market or collateral type is appropriately distributed for LPs backing the supermarket. The supermarket will have variables that can be specifically configured for that market. This may allow markets to be split up in the future based on risk profile and liquidity. Lastly, another improvement discussed during the SIP presentation was staleness tolerance. As we already know, each Perps market requires price information. From the trading competition, it became clear that the cost of pushing that data on-chain was very high. Optionality was added so that price staleness could be made strict for liquidations, for example, and less strict for other transactions. This will reduce transaction costs overall by reducing the amount of data being pushed on-chain. The next presentation was SIP 348 to enable USDC for Andromeda on Base. This SIP proposes using the v3 spot and wrapper functionality to allow users to deposit USDC for a wrapped version to be used as LP collateral or margin for trading. The proposal details all of the v3 configurables for the Perps v3 deployment to Base, including the enabling of USDC as LP collateral. The deployment to Base will be a new market with potentially a new set of users, so it made sense to launch with USDC support, since it's one of the most widely used stablecoins in DeFi. Selecting a single collateral type also reduces the complexity of the deployment. The max market size will be roughly $1 million each for Bitcoin and Ethereum, a conservative cap to start with, similar to the launch of Perps v2. ML Sudo asked what the process would be for adding new markets. Afif said the strategy would likely be similar to the v2 rollout, which began with the most liquid trading pairs and low OI caps before gradually adding new markets and increasing caps. He also stressed the importance of continuing to build on the positive reputation the protocol has developed over the past year since the introduction of Perps. There was some general confusion on the council that this SIP seemed to be missing key details about the deployment that had been discussed previously, such as the fee sharing. Cav clarified that there are a number of SIPs that will be a part of the Andromeda deployment, such as SIP 345 for the SNX buyback and burn, and SIP 346 for the integrator fee share. Kane suggested listing those as dependencies, and Cav will be updating the SIP to reflect all dependencies. Matt also just announced an explainer blog post for the Andromeda release yesterday, which is linked in our blog. The post discusses some background on Perps v2, what upgrades Perps v3 will bring, the essence of testing in Andromeda, isolation of the Andromeda release on Base, how success will be measured, what to expect for the initial rollout, the Andromeda experience from an LP versus trader perspective, and the future of synthetics with Andromeda. Be sure to give the post a read. Lastly, for a quick Ambassador Council update, the team discussed potential future integrations and builders, as well as ways to engage and support current integrators. They then discussed a framework to make sure all projects in the ecosystem know about Optimism grants and retroactive grant funding. The ambassadors are also in the process of brainstorming an article on how new protocols can leverage v3, as well as planning out future Spartan spaces. Lastly, the Council created a synthetics ecosystem public goods list for Optimism's RPGF Round 3, where other badge holders can vote. The projects on their list have put building first and have significantly contributed to the growth of the ecosystem by onboarding developers, projects, LPs, and traders. And that's it for today's updates. Be sure to check out our weekly recap blog post, share this podcast link, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear more about from SNXweave. Thanks for listening.